Hello, it's me, Leslie Bray Brewer. I'm down at the well on a Wednesday night. I don't even know what time it is, 9:30 or something maybe. And it is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. It is Ash Wednesday, as the Christian church world calls the day that Lent begins, the 40 days of prayer and fasting. Today's the day, Ash Wednesday, it begins. And I think a lot of churches will take ashes and maybe make the sign of the cross on the forehead or something. That's an old tradition. I think it came from the Catholic Church a long time ago. We don't do any of that. If you do, that's great. We don't, but we had our first of the month total praise night. The first week of every month, we have a testimony night. We take a half an hour or whatever the Lord leads us to do, just open up the floor for any testimonies, and then we have a time of total praise. We're not begging, we're not interceding, we're not asking, pleading for something. We're just giving him praise. And we have different playlists we play on the Bluetooth, via Bluetooth. And that's just the basis for why we're here tonight. But what I wanted to tell you is this is day one. I made a promo video yesterday saying we're getting ready to start the next day, which is now today. It is day one of the 40 days of prayer and fasting, and it runs through Passover weekend. Passover begins Saturday night, April 12th this year. Changes every year, the date. But we've begun, and I'm excited about what I felt. I felt some things in the spirit tonight when we were over in the other room having just a time of praise. I felt such an open door. I can honestly say without exaggeration that over all of my years of being in non-denominational or Pentecostal type churches where the move of the Spirit is, very prominent, I've never ever been this excited about a time of fasting. And in all those years in those types of churches, since I was 19, that was a long time ago now, I have been in many different corporate fasting times or different church initiatives of prayer and fasting. I've been in a bunch after all these years. And I've never been as excited as I am about this one. I sense such an open door in front of us. Now with God, there's always been an open door, but there's also a kairos time. People call it kairos time, which means an appointed time where God's got some things he's ready to do. I feel like this is such a time. There are many kairos times through history. I believe this is such a time. I'm really, really in my spirit, just so overwhelmed with what I feel for the next 39 days now. This was day one. It's almost over. Time of fasting and prayer. I tell you, there's such a power. There's a book called The Atomic Power of Prayer and Fasting, an old book. I believe it was written in the 40s. I recommend that book highly. I forgot who wrote it, but I believe I've got the name right. The Atomic Power in Prayer and Fasting. If you Google that, you could probably order it on Amazon. Terrific book about the power that's in the combined efforts of prayer and fasting. The modern church is not utilizing that the way that I believe we're supposed to be. There's such a power in it. It draws you so into the Spirit of the Lord because your flesh is humbled, because you're not feeding it, the things it normally gets. So your flesh gets so humbled and the Spirit of the Lord is able to take over more. There's power in that. I was telling him tonight, I said, if you're not able to fast because you take medicines and you're supposed to have food with the medicines, or you're diabetic maybe, or pregnant or whatever, don't feel condemned. Do not feel condemned. But anybody who can go without food for a time, whether it be one meal or two or a whole day or longer, I can tell you that sometimes it's hard at first, but even if you feel to do a multi-day fast, when you get beyond maybe day two, sometimes day one, this incredible peace settles over you. Ooh, you just like a meek little kitten, just this peace. And you suddenly, it's almost like you don't even want to eat again. You have to. And food still has its charms, but it's as if you're thinking, man, if I could just stay in this place, because you feel such a humility, you feel such a sweetness of the Spirit. You're like, if I could just stay here and keep my flesh subdued like this. But Jesus knew that there would be times of fasting. He talked about that. It was a practice in the New Testament They would fast and pray before they would separate themselves, the early leaders, to fast and pray before they made big decisions, before they chose new apostles, new leaders. They would separate themselves for times of fasting and prayer. So it's a very biblical concept because there's great power in it. But I'm excited, and I wanted to encourage you. Just do whatever the Lord leads you to do with regard to fasting and prayer. Just make sure you combine it. If you're going to do any kind of fast, make sure it's combined with prayer. And I'm telling you, there's such an open door right now. It's like an open heaven, I felt. The horizon is just, it isn't even there anymore. It's like there's something beyond the horizon for God's people, if that's possible. He showed me that one time in a vision, like you see the horizon, but for God's people, it's expanded. There's something beyond it. I feel the Holy Ghost, something great. He's wanting to do amazing things right now. I even felt something, if He allows me, that I'll preach Sunday morning about the incredible things that He can do with the people who will sell out to Him. So I love you. I just wanted to tell you this and encourage you for this 40 days. Day 1 is now almost over. And thank you for joining in. It's not too late if you haven't started. Join us tomorrow, the next day. I love you all. Love Jesus first of all. Then I love you. Thanks for watching.